Mr. David Miller, an elderly resident of McCall, Idaho, had deep roots in his hometown, rarely straying from its confines except for his stint in the Army. Following his military service, he returned to McCall, where he resided alone. Though once married to his high school sweetheart, their paths diverged after 5 years together. Despite the separation, he cherished his 2 daughters, each living in different towns with their own families. Perched on the outskirts of town, Mr. Miller found solace in the simplicity of his routine, often spending evenings on his porch, a silent observer of the setting sun. While he maintained polite interactions with neighbors, he kept an emotional distance, preferring solitude. His only regular visitor was young Will, a boy from down the road, who relished hearing Mr. David's wartime tales. As a former battlefield medic, Mr. Miller recounted experiences of aiding wounded soldiers, a chapter of his life he had left behind upon retirement, untempted by the allure of past conflicts. His days followed a tranquil rhythm: morning walks, leisurely sips of tea, and afternoons lost in books on his porch. Occasionally, Will would join him for conversation, though often, Mr. David simply observed the world unfolding around him. Despite town gossip of wolves prowling the nearby forest, he chose to steer clear, mindful of his own vulnerability and unwilling to risk encounters with either the creatures or those seeking them. He held firm to his belief in preserving all life, human and animal alike. When neighbors embarked on wolf hunts out of concern for safety, Mr. Miller opposed their actions adamantly, advocating for coexistence over confrontation. Yet, his pleas fell on deaf ears, as the determined group persisted in their pursuit despite his objections. One evening, while seated on his porch, Mr. Miller discerned faint rustling emanating from his tool shed. Uncertain at first, he eventually retrieved a flashlight to investigate the source. To his surprise, nestled amidst the boxes, he discovered a large wolf, its presence unexpected yet undeniable. Initial trepidation morphed into compassion as he noticed the animal's plight. A gunshot wound marred its hind leg, rendering it immobile. Sensing the dire need for aid, Mr. Miller resolved to intervene. However, before he could act, the tranquility of the moment was shattered by approaching voices and a knock on his door. With a calming gesture, the old man quelled the wolf's agitation, then exited the shed to address the unexpected visitors. 3 young men inquired about a fleeing wolf, to which Mr. Miller, feigning ignorance, replied with practiced diplomacy, deflecting their suspicions. Once they departed, he swiftly returned to the shed armed with medical supplies. With steady hands and a compassionate heart, Mr. Miller tended to the wolf's wound, extracting the embedded bullet and administering care. In the ensuing days, he nurtured the injured creature, forming an unlikely bond born from empathy and mutual need. Under the veil of secrecy, their nightly rendezvous in the shed became a ritual of healing and companionship. As the wolf regained strength, Mr. Miller escorted it back to the wild, where it embraced newfound freedom with cautious gratitude. Though their paths diverged, their connection endured, manifesting in sporadic encounters that punctuated the passage of time. Life resumed its familiar cadence, yet their shared bond lingered as a testament to the enduring power of compassion and understanding. The following morning, Mr. Miller prepared his usual breakfast of French toast. While seated at the table, savoring his meal and perusing the morning paper, he suddenly felt a tightening in his chest, causing him to drop his fork. Sensing something was amiss, he dialed emergency services before collapsing to the ground, unconscious. Despite swift medical attention, it was too late. Mr. Miller had ceased breathing. As he was rushed to the local hospital, the entire town mourned the loss of their beloved Mr. Miller. Though he led a quiet life, his presence had been a comforting fixture in the community, touching the lives of many with his kindness and amiability. On the day of Mr. Miller's funeral, loved ones assembled to bid their final farewells. As the coffin rested before them and heartfelt eulogies filled the air, an unexpected event unfolded. Without warning, a wolf dashed into the church, heading straight for the coffin. Startled mourners hastily made way as the wolf's presence caused a stir, yet what followed was even more astounding. Rumors quickly spread throughout the town about the miraculous revival of the enigmatic Mr. Miller, attributed to the intervention of a wolf. His family, seeking answers, found the truth to be almost unbelievable. A perplexed doctor explained that the wolf inadvertently saved Mr. Miller's life by performing a makeshift tracheotomy. This reaction had caused his airways to constrict, rendering him unconscious and appearing lifeless. It turned out that Will, unaware of his friend's allergy, had unknowingly purchased white bread for him during his last grocery run. When Mr. Miller regained consciousness, his family recounted the remarkable events to him, but he couldn't shake his curiosity about the wolf. They informed him that the wolf had vanished into the forest, leaving him longing to express his gratitude. Several weeks later, Mr. Miller was discharged from the hospital, yearning to reunite with his savior. One tranquil evening, as he sat on his porch, he spotted the wolf lurking in the shadows. Without hesitation, he rushed toward it and embraced his faithful companion, expressing heartfelt gratitude for saving his life. The wolf tenderly licked his face before darting back into the woods. Although Mr. Miller never laid eyes on the wolf again, the memory of its heroic act remained etched in his heart forever.